So slope is actually one of my favorite things to talk about, and you should have these great doodle notes in front of you. Ooh, crazy. So we know that slope is rise over run, and if it is written like this, it should always be written in as a fraction. And we like fractions to be reduced into simplest form. Sorry, my writing doesn't really fit with this pen apparently. And we do have an equation for slope. So if we're given 2 points, remember points are always x and y. So let's say we're given 2 of these x and y. And to distinguish between x's and y's, we'll label this first point x1, y1, and this point x2, y2. And so my equation is going to be y2 minus y1, because rise is how up or down it is on the y-axis, so we know that y should be on top. So y2 over minus y1 over x2 minus x1. You do need to subtract before you ever divide, okay? So the slope of a line can be determined by counting units. Counting units on the coordinate plane, or like we're going to do up here, by subtracting coordinates. Okay? So let's find the slope between 2 points. We have 3, negative 2, and 4, 4. So if I set up my equation, y2 minus y1, you can label these points. So this might be my x1, y1, x2, y2. So I'm going to take y2, 4, minus that negative 2, over 4 minus 3. Be careful when you're subtracting these negatives. 2 negatives next to each other become a positive. So 4 minus a negative 2 is really 4 plus 2, which is 6. 4 minus 3 is 1. 6 over 1 is simply 6. So I know my slope here is 6. Okay? Try number 2 on your own. Negative 1 minus 0 is negative 1. Negative 8 minus 6 is negative 14. A negative divided by a negative is simply a positive. So 1/14 would be my slope. And like this line said, we can try it by subtracting coordinates or by counting coordinates. So this one, we'll call this line L. I go up 1, 2, 3 over 1, 2. So I rose 3, ran 2. Rise over run. Line M, I dropped 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I went down, minus 6, and I went over 2. Negative 6 divided by 2 is negative 3. So that's how I would do it for line M. Try line N over here on your own. You go up 2 from here, and over 4. 2 over 4 is 1/2. Okay? So let's go ahead and plot some points here. So I'm plotting a line that starts at the origin. So on my graph, I'm going to start at 0, 0, and it has a slope of negative 3. So I'm going to go down 3 over 1, or because I know that up and right are positive movements and down and left are negative movements, to get a negative slope, I could also move up but left, because that still gives me negative. Okay? And I have 3 points, so I can go ahead and join them up with a line. Okay. Okay? And that it tells me to label as line A. Then let's go ahead and try line B. It starts at the point 0, 4. So is that going to be on the x or the y axis? Good. It's up 0 on the x, or it's over 0 on the x and up 4 on the y. Because all our points should be written as x comma y. So it starts up here. Then it has a slope of negative 3/4, so I'm going to go down 3 over 4, like this. I can't really fit another point on that graph, so I'm going to go ahead and draw my line. And that would be line B. The two lines that we just did, A and B, both have negative slopes, because they start higher and go lower. They fall, they're negative. Versus if we look back at line L up here, it starts low and goes high. This one has a positive slope. So a positive slope would look like line L here. The slope of a horizontal line, that's this kind of line, goes straight across. Remember we said if there was a little ski man going skiing, he wouldn't really go very fast because it's flat. So he goes 0 miles per hour. The slope of a horizontal line is 0. Versus a vertical line, when you come to the edge of the cliff, you should say no, because this has no slope. Or sometimes we say it's undefined. Okay, so make sure you know what each of these slopes look like. No slope, zero slope, positive, and negative. Because you may have to match them up on a quiz or test. Steeper slopes, this last blank at the bottom, have a greater absolute value of the m value. So line A is a lot steeper than line B because the absolute value of negative 3 is 3 versus the absolute value of negative 3/4 is 3/4, less than 1. So this has a greater absolute value. This line is steeper.